Learn to speedrun. Nice, Oats, you're learning to speedrun, huh? Let me think of the first damage boost. Right there, it's saying the first damage boost is probably leaving Kraid, which is pretty good. I think we'll maybe just stick with that one. And then I'll explain, and then I'll go somewhere else after. So, this is damage boosting. It's when you take damage from anything. These are spikes. These do damage. Enemies, projectiles, sparks, spike, whatever. Yeah. So you're going to see a lot of speedrunners do stuff like this. And you're like, oh man, how do I do that? This is used everywhere in speedruns. It's incredibly important to know. And this is kind of like the first easy time save damage boost you can do. So, according to the wiki as well. And it kind of is, because you don't have to do some crazy turnaround and try to time it. So let me explain a little bit here on how this works. Spikes and sparks, so this, they have knockback frames. The knockback frames is right after you take damage. Whoops, that was a little fast. Hold on. So right after you take damage, you're gonna see Samus kind of like jolt backwards a little bit, and there's 10 knockback frames from spikes and sparks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Maybe they don't count the first one of damage, so it ends right there. So that's when you're going to be doing your damage boost, is when Samus is getting knocked backwards like that. And I'm holding run through or jump through this entire thing. Keep in mind, jump is being held. This is what you're looking for when you're going to be doing a damage boost. The only input here is jump. So, the inputs for this are, you're going to, let's say this is the first damage boost you want to learn. You're going to come over here. You can turn to the right. I'll explain a little bit of this in a minute. To make this easy, turn to the right, jump into the spikes. Right when you take damage, you have to make sure, not right when. There's 10 frames, 160 milliseconds roughly, that you have to press left. You're gonna hold jump through the entire thing. You're going to, right after you take damage, press left, hold left. That's how it looks. And this is, with sparks and spikes, it's the most forgiving damage boost. Because there's 10 knockback frames. The knockback frames are the only, that's the only time that you can press left or right. If you're facing left, you're gonna damage boost by pressing right. You're pressing the direction you want to go, but you're facing the opposite direction. So if you're like running to the right and you want to get to this door, you're going to be a couple ways you could do it. A speedrunner is just going to jump into it and then turn to the right or turn to the left and then press back right after taking damage, like that. If you're new and it's a little bit hard, you can just do something like that. So just get in the habit. You want to go to the left? You got to turn. You got to look away from where you're going first. Okay. So, a couple things to take note of. Remember in the previous tutorial, it was probably the previous tutorial, when you're facing or when you're standing, that's your biggest hitbox. Okay? When you're spinning, your hitbox is the second smallest hitbox in the game. So, if you're used to just jumping into this while standing and then damage boosting, you're going to have a difficult time when you go to that was kind of cool. When you go to spin into it, because you're going to be hitting this later than you would be thinking, right? With this, you're going to hit it sooner. You're going to hit this, and I don't know how many frames. I'm not going to count them, but this you're going to hit a little bit differently. I'm going to count them. Hold on. So off the ground is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So that's 15. Hold on. I believe that's off the ground already, technically. It's kind of not the way I did the other one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So that's a frame or two, right? It really depends on run speed as well. But the whole point is it's going to be different. It could be the same. It's going to be a little bit different because of your run speed, all that jazz, whatever. Nonetheless, an important thing to take note of. It takes, let me get this right, 8 frames to turn around. That's 8 frames. 8 frames. So if you're trying to come up here and then do a damage boost, running left while not spinning, and then like try to turn, it's going to take 8 frames. So you better turn like instantly when you jump, or else you're not going to be facing right before you hit this. And if you're not facing right before you hit it, you're not going to be able to damage boost. Something to take note of. With spin jumps, you can instantly, watch this. What am I pressing? Spin jumps, you can instantly, in 1 frame, turn the opposite direction. So I'm pressing right now. I'm going to advance a frame. Instantly turn to the right. That's why spinning is... It's good. It's optimal. Typically, if you're going to damage boost while standing, there's only particular spots because it's slower for a number of reasons. You're never really going to go into something and not spin. So maybe just try to get into the habit of spinning, turn to the right, press left. Okay. Now, you got this down. You mastered this. This is one damage boost that we do in the run. Let me try this. Red tower, the projectiles from the bats. So if you can do this, this would maybe be the first damage boost that you do. I'm going to do Hellway after. Hellway is something I want to show at the end because it's very important for like technicalities. So these are projectiles. These enemies, you have 5 frames of knockback. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that's it. Before I'm moving forward. So as you can see, it's a little bit more difficult to damage boost off of these enemies. You just have to time it. To explain this room, you're going to land, you're going to shoot, you're going to run forward, you're going to jump towards the end, you're going to press right pretty close to getting underneath it, and then instantly press back right after you take damage. Or press left and then right. Like that. What we do in the speedrun generally, it helps us collect the drop, and it is faster, is we shoot the door, and this projectile that's falling, we damage boost off of this. That projectile is only 4 frames of knockback. So I'm not going to slow it down. The enemies are 5. These projectiles that are falling, 4 frames. So that means it's obviously much more difficult to get your damage boost. It takes some practice. It takes some, some perseverance and some good control of your D-pad, essentially, so you're not breaking out a spin. But yeah, it's not an easy damage boost. Sometimes I try to damage boost off of the second one, not the first one. The first one is going to make you land a little bit short. But if you can't get the second one, you can land in the door. But generally speaking, it's a little bit nicer. Because right after this, I want 100%. You're either going to go to the right if you're doing any percents, old route, or you're just going to aim up out of the door. Sniped. 4 frames doesn't run that fast. 4 frames isn't as slim as it sounds. 4 frames is slimmer than it sounds. 4 frames is 66 milliseconds. The average reaction time from someone is triple that, over triple that. So 4 frames is a third. This runs at 60 frames, 30 interlaced. It's 60 frames, so this is 16.66 milliseconds per frame. So a 4 frame damage boost is 3264, and then add some change, 1.8. So 65.8 milliseconds. Did I do that right? Maybe not, I don't know. Nonetheless, it is less than a third of human reaction speed. So it is fast. Luckily, it's not based off of reaction. You can anticipate, which then, you know, anticipation in terms of something so tight is a lot easier. It's like doing CWJ. Let me explain some details to this. You got damage boost down. You understand it a little bit. Now let me explain some really advanced, not really advanced, but some technicalities. So one important thing is Hellway. It has a lot of detail to it. In any percent old route, no, any percent new route, doesn't matter. Or old route too. I don't know. Yeah, because you're coming back down here in new route or old route. This room is really difficult at first. If you learn how to damage boost, this is what the room is supposed to look like. Let me show it. I haven't done this with high jump. It's a little bit tough. Almost. Hold on. I haven't done this with high jump in quite some time. Give me a moment. Just like that. Okay. So, what this is going to look like if you don't take into account what I'm about to teach you is this. Okay, that was just fucking perfect. Hold on. Is that. It's gonna look like this. Perfect. You're gonna be hitting some stuff. Or you're going to, you know, whatever, yada yada. You're gonna hit this. This is generally what gets people tripped up. This flower. What you can do is, a lot of people will do a down grab right here. I believe, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't played this category in a while, and then damage boost off the corner of the flower. But once you get better, you're going to damage boost off that spike. And how do we do that? Because when you're trying it, that happens. You hit the flower. You know how there's 10 knockback frames here? We wait to damage boost towards the end of the knockback frames. So instead of hitting and taking damage and instantly pressing left to damage boost, which is really easy to do, and you kind of ingrain it when you're learning damage boosting, you have to take damage, delay your left press for like 5 to 8 frames, and then you press left to bypass this flower. You see how it's kind of delayed? So this is a small detail, which is something important to take note of. You can skip it, it's way faster. I'm pressing left. It's anywhere from like 3 to 8 frames delayed. Not pressing it instantly. Taking the hit, and then delaying it, pressing left. It's hard to get used to. Let me show you another strat to where we do this. And this is really quite obvious when you see it. We do this in 100%, all of the runners. you get to this point, this right here, and then normally we damage boost. We'll damage boost off this spike to get into the door. If you damage boost instantly, we are hitting way up here on the door. See that? It's just not even, you can't clear it, right? No way you're gonna clear it. But what we do, here's another thing, is, okay, so this is kind of getting really advanced. So one thing as well to take note of, and let me explain it right now, is when you are jumping, if you press forward, let me show you what it looks like if you are just jumping into the spikes. I'm just holding jump. That's what it looks like. I get knocked back, and I have, you can kind of see what kind of height I have there. Now, let me show you what it looks like when I press forward. You see how low I'm going? I am going down at like a 45-degree angle, as opposed to going straight towards the wall. So what we do is you press forward here, you get a lower height, and this doesn't work everywhere, keep in mind, because sometimes you need to clear ledges, like in the flower room. I believe if you hold forward there for too long, you might run into issues because you won't clear the ledge. So in this strat, if you hold forward, instead of this getting knocked straight back nearly, hold forward, and we get knocked back down at a crazy angle, and then you can damage boost out of that. And that was only like 5 frames. Take the math into account from earlier. That's not a lot of frames to work with, which is like 70 or 80 frames or milliseconds. What we do here, just like what I was explaining, we hold forward for a certain number of frames, and then that'll help us clear this door. Now, the issue with this is if you don't do this right and if you hold forward for too long, you're just going to hit the door and then bounce up off it. So this is kind of maybe a bad area to explain this, because this is quite a difficult trick timing-wise. Yes, and the water is wet. So just like that, you clear the door. This is used in a number of areas where we will delay our damage boosts, hold angles on our damage boosts. One spot that I use it is the Zebetite skip. So, for example, in 100% here, we do this strat because with screw attack, we need to do a down back strat into this. So if you don't hold forward here and you just on morph, let me show you. You see how high you stay? So in this, for example, I want to stay lower to the ground, so I hold forward, and then it knocks me back, and then forward, kind of thing. So I stay lower to the ground. So these are just optimizations, for example. So that kind of shows you how the knockback can be different for different strats. Alpha power boom damage boost. Yeah, I can do that. This is a damage boost. So this is probably good to show, because this is a damage boost that a lot of beginners have a hard time with. Is this one right here. Because it's kind of tricky. Especially if you're if you on morph or something. What are the knockbacks on this? So 5 frames of knockback. You can, here, don't blink. Can you see the knockback here? That's the knockback that you get. That little jolt to the right. Yeah, so you're going from 10 frame damage boosts above this hellway to 5 frame damage boosts. So that's the amount of time, that little tiny knockback that you have the damage boost here. So basically what I look at is right when I see Samus is about to come into contact, I am pressing I'm holding jump. I press right and spin. Press right. Get ready for it. And then, yeah. Just press left. You have to do this while spinning. One thing you can do is slow it down a little bit. Make it a little bit easier on yourself. What we try to do here is optimize it by... I try to hold it right a little bit. Or, what do? I try to stay lower to the ground, I think. Yeah. Something like that. Get as far left as I can or something. I don't know. I'd have to, like, look at my runs. But, yeah, this is a really tough strat for a lot of people. What are the frames for enemies to transition? It's still the same. So if you're getting hit through a door, you still have the 5 frames as you transition through the door. The only hard part about that is you have to time when the movement actually starts, which is really difficult. Yeah, so with doors, I can explain, I guess, how doors work. You open it and you go through there. So one strat that we can do here in 100% is we will shoot. You see how you see how that thing is falling through the door? When I hit the door transition, I'm not going to take damage until I exit the room and enter the other portion. So I am not going to ever take damage here. So what we do here is shoot the super to knock that off, and then all I do is hold left and right. Or, sorry, not left and right. Left and jump. So I'm holding jump, and you can just buffer it. One thing you can do here, which is kind of dumb, is you can hold forward for a number of frames, but it's so difficult to time through the door transition. It can keep you lower, because sometimes you'll hit this stalactite. Holding left and right is I don't think it's legal, actually. If you hold right and left in this game, there's some weird stuff that can happen. Tassers do that. To recap, spikes and sparks are 10 frames of knockback, easiest to damage boost. Enemies are 5 frames. It's, you know, cut in half, and then take 1 frame off, and it is projectiles. So it's going to be hard to master, and it's especially hard to master. Like I said, when you're spinning, your hitbox is different. You have to get used to it. It just takes a lot of practice, but you can do it, I believe. And enjoy. Good luck.